Okay, we're about to start. Gonna get this going in just a sec. So go ahead and wrap up whatever conversations you'd like, and then we will turn it over to the projector screen. All right. Yes, it is recorded. We will probably edit out a lot of that extra time from earlier in the afternoon, but we want to be able to share at least some portions of this with people who aren't able to be here at this time. Or like our friends in Kennewick, our host ended up very sick, and so we have some wonderful volunteers in Kennewick who are pitching in, but might actually be observing on their phone, all huddled around the snack table right now until a laptop arrives. So we are just making it work. Teamwork and collaborating with all sorts of improvisation here around the state today. And I'm so glad that you're all here with us. This is our third year doing an event like this, where we have a few different towns that are live in person this time. We already said we have Kennewick. We also have Seattle, Spokane, and then our folks that are on Zoom. And every time it's been different. We've done it in May, we've done it in July. Today's obviously December. If you've attended multiples and you have a strong feeling about which time of year is the best for some reason, let us know, because we might choose a different time next year. We're still trying to find the best time to bring people together, but either way, we know that bringing people together is an important thing, and it really has a big impact on the work that we do. I'm also suddenly realizing I did not plug in my remote control. Do I have anybody that wants to sit next to it and go, next slide? Thank you, guys. All right. I also want to make sure we say thank you to our sponsors down at the bottom, Fort Culture, ArtsWA, and the Seattle Office of Arts and Culture. They are all longtime sponsors of our work at Arts Head Washington, and we appreciate their financial sponsorship so much. Welcome. Go ahead and grab some food, some beverages, and have a seat. Not next slide. We don't know what's happening. I don't know why it worked for me and it didn't for you. I'm sorry. It's like when you go to the doctor and you say, this is wrong, and then it's not wrong the day you get there. But I believe you. Before we get into the details, connecting you all to each other, we want to make sure everybody here knows who we are as Arts Ed Washington. So Arts Ed Washington is a grassroots nonprofit. We provide services for educators and administrators. We collaborate with statewide leaders. We advocate for systems change to ensure that arts education is a meaningful part of the educational experience for all 1.1 million students in Washington State K-12. And when we say arts, we are talking about cultural arts, dance, media arts, music, theater, and visual arts. And so our work is to support all of those and their impact in Washington schools. Not because arts outside of schools are not important, they absolutely are. But tends to be that the people who are engaged with our work have some sort of a connection to schools. So a lot of our expertise can really have maximal impact by working with schools. And as we already said, there's over 1.1 million students K-12 in Washington. So if one of our goals is equity and really advancing arts for as many students as possible, then for us, doing that in schools is an important way to do that. So that's why that is our focus. All right, next slide. Also, for those who maybe are already looking for some verbiage to share when people ask you, why arts education? Why does it matter? Why should we support arts in our schools? Here are just a couple of reasons, and our website has a ton more resources, but this is just a super overarching view for you. First of all, we want to note that arts education is actually considered part of basic education. That's an actual term, basic education in statute at the state and federal level. So it's legally required in some capacity. But saying something's legally required is not really the most inspiring reason to ask people to support something. So that's not our main go-to. Here are a couple of other reasons that are a little bit more motivating as to why we think the arts actually matter in our schools. Because students who engage in the arts have statistically higher GPAs and higher standardized test scores. They have higher college going rates and lower dropout rates. They have greater social connection and greater school engagement. They have increased confidence. They have critical thinking skills increased. They have academic benefits across all socioeconomic layers. So typically, if you were really to dig into some sort of a formal research project, often what you would find is that students who are geographically isolated, or who have come from a lower socioeconomic background, or who come from a minority or a marginalized racial demographic, you would find often that students in those identities have gaps in their learning. But when we do research about arts education, the students in those pockets that typically have gaps, their gaps shrink more substantially than the other students. So the arts tends to have a much bigger positive impact, even for the students who don't tend to be as positively impacted by a lot of other efforts. Then, for some people, that part still isn't motivating for them. So if you can see the red broken out state of Washington and some numbers on there by region, those are the numbers of creative jobs that are on record throughout Washington state. And I want to note that this type of statistic only accounts for what we'd consider traditional employees or W-2 workers. But if you have a side gig, which a lot of artists are gig workers, or they're seasonal workers, they're 1099, they're independent contractors, they're professional photographers, but it's their weekend job, those numbers are not included in a lot of the research. So these numbers are absolutely bigger than what's shown here because of all those people that we know are not actually being counted in these statistics. So this is already great set of numbers, but it's also bigger than what we see. To add that all up, Washington's creative economy, which is all the monies that come in through Washington from creative types of jobs, Washington's creative economy employs over 190,000 workers, and again, that doesn't include our gig workers. That's a lot of people. And if we look at the percentage in our state, so the percentage of gross domestic profit that comes in from creative jobs, across the whole country, the average is 4.2%. So 4.2% of a state's income typically comes from creative jobs. In Washington, it's 9.8%. That is literally the highest percentage in the country. Washington has a strong creative economy. Actually, percentage-wise, stronger than California. Not total number, because they're massive, so we can't possibly compete with that. But by percentage, they are in the 7% range, and we are 9.8. So we are absolutely even percentage-wise the top. But the thing for me that still stands out, and I would dare say it's probably all of our folks in Arts Ed Washington as well, these numbers are amazing, but what kids in what parts of the state haven't experienced arts education that have put them on a path to be able to access those careers? The careers are there. Do the kids have access to them? Are there students that aren't seeing themselves reflected in the art forms in their school, so they don't think they should take the art classes? So then they don't realize that they could have a potential career in the arts? And if any of those things are the case, then that's the type of equity that we want to be able to advocate for. So lots and lots of reasons why the arts matter in our schools. These are just a couple. Again, if you want some more numbers, you can check out our website or hyperlinked, and we will share this slide deck with you afterward. But hyperlinked at the bottom is the Washington's Creative Economy Strategic Plan, which is where those numbers at the bottom also came from. All right, next slide. Okay, for this slide, if we do have anyone from these different groups, we're going to ask you to either step into the camera or unmute yourself here in just a moment. We have learned in the last few years that there is a real challenge navigating the ecosystem of arts education. So many different art forms, so many different ways people can be professionals, so many different types of classes. Elementary classes, middle school is different than high school classes, than university classes, than the sports and clubs versions of the arts. And so it can be very confusing when people do want to get involved in the arts and try to figure out, who do I ask this question about? Or if I have a concern, or if I have a really cool idea or a really cool compliment, praise to send out for something that I saw, who in the world do I send it to? So we have this infographic, and if you're at any of our in-person locations, you will also be able to access a hard copy, and then we can have these sent out to everybody who RSVP'd as well. So you can get a digital copy. On the back, it gives a summary of all of these organizations and their roles so that you can know who to navigate to. But we also at Artside Washington spend a lot of time interacting with all these groups because we all have a different part to play in making sure that the arts are available for Washington students. So in the upper left corner of the screen, we have state agencies or state organizations like the State Board of Education, the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction, the Washington Legislature, which all of your legislators locally get together and make bills and budgets that impact education. And if it impacts education, it impacts the arts. Even if it doesn't say art in that particular law, it's going to have some sort of an impact on the arts, probably. So we make sure that we're engaged in those conversations too. The Professional Educator Standards Board, Washington Interscholastic Activities Association, and then on the flip side, we have people who are more school focused, typically on like a district or a local level. Washington Education Association, which is your school, your teachers union, Parent Teacher Association, so your PTA or PTO, you have local school board directors, you have local school principals, and you have district superintendents. All of those people make local decisions that impact your arts. Do we have anyone in those two colors that is here and that wants to come on camera real quickly and introduce yourself? I'll give it a moment for that to happen.
My name is Michelle Weinmaster, and I'm here representing Washington State Parent Teacher Association. We do advocacy work around schools and education. You can learn more about us on our website at www.washingtonstatepta.org. But yeah, that's kind of what we do. We have a reflections contest that we run through our PTAs. That's a national contest through National PTA. We are currently looking for judges. If that's something people are interested in, I can put my email in the chat. It's just kind of a fun contest, and we're always looking for artistic judges. So feel free to email me if you're interested. Is that what you wanted me to say?
If that's what you wanted to say, then yeah.
Okay.
I think that sounds great. So you all, your PTAs at different schools around the state, they have arts related contests, right? And if I remember right, it's multiple disciplines. It's not just visual art.
Oh yes, the contest includes literature, dance, film, visual arts, and that can include everything from like pottery to painting to drawing to whatever. Film, dance, music composition also is another category. I think that's all. So I'm sorry.
This is Jasmine, awesome. One of your co-chairs for Reflection.
Excellent.
Photography as well.
Ooh, yep. Good call. Yeah, that's great. So if any of you have kids that are in elementary, does it go through middle school?
Yes, the contest is actually K-12.
Oh, I definitely didn't remember that part. Thank you so much for clarifying. So if you have students that you think would like to be involved, definitely look into that. But also, if you are interested in volunteering as a judge for any of those categories, that could be a pretty cool way to support arts in the schools. Thanks, folks. Anybody else in the gold or orange bubbles that would like to talk?
If I could just add, this is Jasmine again. I am one of Michelle's co-chairs for the Washington State PTA Reflections, and it's an amazing program. It recognizes our student artists in a way that they're not recognized very often, like student athletes or like really academic kids are recognized pretty often in schools, and artistic kids don't always get that recognition. So it's a really, I think, important, impactful program, and we are desperately seeking judges. It's not a big commitment. So we'd love to have any and all of you volunteer to judge.
And it's online judging, right?
Yes, it is all online.
Awesome.
And we'll provide the rubric and, a little bit of training on how to use the platform and everything.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you. Hope we get some volunteers out of this event for you. All right. I think that's our last in the gold and orange categories. I don't want to cut anyone off, but I think that is. And then down in the blue, you will see more arts-based, arts-specific discipline associations. So we have Washington Association for Career and Technical Education, which is often referred to as CTE, Career Technical Education. It is possible for students to have some of their CTE classes count as arts credits. So CTE is, again, a decision maker that has some impact in the world of arts in our schools. Next, we have Dance Educators Association of Washington, which is sometimes involved in schools and sometimes involved in outside of school dancing activities. We have Washington Art Education Association. A little trick for you, since this says art and it ends with T, not with S, that is going to refer to visual art. And if it ends with an S, like Arts Ed Washington, then that typically is more of a collective arts. So the WAEA is Visual Art Association. The Washington Music Educators Association, which involves vocal and instrumental music. And then the Washington State Thespians or Theater Association. I'm pretty sure that our Kennewick host, who is sadly sick, was also a representative for State Thespians. I don't know if we have anyone else filling in for that, but do I have anyone else in the blue that would like to unmute or step into the camera and say something? I think I saw Mark. Mark, are you wanting to talk today?
I'm on my phone and I can't figure this thing out.
Oh,
Okay.
Sorry.
Hi. Hey, everybody. Mark Moody, president of the Washington Art Education Association. We represent pre-K through 12 arts educators in public and private education. We have outreach also to teaching artists in communities, as well as arts administrators and university and college level arts educators. And we do represent the visual arts, drawing, painting, ceramics, etc. But we also have a little bit of a reach into the media arts as well. So for photography and video production and graphic design educators also. And we provide clock hours for educators who need that for their certification, as well as just getting together and doing awesome artsy things. So that is the Washington Arts Education in a nutshell. There you
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome. Have a seat. Grab some food. I think that might be our only blue category person today. Is that? Okay, and as a reminder, we will have a version of this coming out to you if you RSVP'd for today's event. So thank you very much. And then in the kind of coral red color, I'm really excited about this one because Arts WA is the Washington State Arts Commission. Everybody confuses Arts WA and Arts Ed Washington. We are not the same organization, but we do collaborate with them on a regular basis. So chances are if you email them by mistake or email us by mistake, we can probably put you in touch with the other one just fine. But we do want to make sure that you know that technically we are different. And we collaborate with them and with Inspire Washington, who is the next little coral bubble, who is our state's leading advocacy organization for arts, heritage, and science. And one of the projects that our groups work on with quite a few representatives from other bubbles on this sheet is the third little circle down there called Arts for All. And that is a project that is working on collecting data across the state so that we actually can talk about what the percentages are or talk about the budgets and how they look with the arts in different schools or different regions. And some other really amazing arts advocacy related projects that would be too big of a lift for any one of our bubbles here, including Arts Ed Washington. It'd be too big of a lift for any one of us to do on our own. And so together we work in this collaborative called Arts for All. So there are my big takeaway for you from this slide. You have a lot of different ways that you could get involved in the arts in Washington State. And I would say there are other organizations that are regional or that are very, very arts focused, but not as tightly connected to education that you could also get in touch with and get involved with. These are the ones that are statewide and that are heavily education focused. One of my personal dreams is that in a few years, we will start to see that people get involved in multiples. Maybe you serve a term as a board member for one of these, and when that term is over and you're ready to volunteer somewhere else, you go and you sign up for another organization. Maybe you're a volunteer for one organization and you are a part-time contractor for another organization. Maybe you work with one organization to advocate with another one. So I think if we can see some mobility in our ecosystem, we will really help to strengthen it and to make sure that it stays aligned and stays very aware of what our community members need all across the state. All right, moving on. It's time to spin the wheel. So in just a moment, we will spin one wheel for each location. I was going to say you have to be able to claim it right now in order to win, but especially knowing our Kennewick people are having trouble with connectivity, I might not require that because I would feel really bad. If you look in the little teal bubble on the side, these are your options. So our coloring books, we have one that is a Seattle book and one that is a Washington book. Actually, let me grab them. Here we go. So the Washington coloring book has artists from 10 different counties and all different challenge levels. Some would be very easy for a young kiddo to color. Some would be much more complicated and are more of like a grown-up level of coloring. And then the Seattle book is the book that actually started this project during the height of the pandemic, when artists, specifically in Seattle, were really struggling to get their art seen, to maybe see other artists' work, to feel inspired, to feel connected, all those things that the arts give us. And so they reached out to us with the help of Galen Driver, who led this project and assembled an entire coloring book of artists from Seattle. So now we have two of these books, one that's Seattle focused, one that's Washington wide. And for each one that we sell online, we set one aside, and then when we have class sets, we donate them to schools that are Title I schools, or maybe low socioeconomic charter schools, or state tribal compact schools. At this point, our Washington book is sold out. That's kind of amazing. The Washington book is sold out, but I'm pretty sure that in all three of our locations, Seattle, Kennewick, and Spokane, we have set aside one, in case somebody wants to choose one on the prize wheel today. And then we also have a bundle that we could send you a pair of Seattle books if you'd rather choose both Seattle books. So either of those could be a prize. Then we have a mini ink kit from Blick, who is a very common or very popular art supply company. And so we have a little ink kit and brush and a vintage ink techniques book to go with it. We have this vintage Kodai book. This is Kodai's life and work, and just to geek out on you for a moment, this was written, I'm pretty sure, like 5 years before he passed away. Artists don't normally get recognized before they pass away. So this was kind of cool, and I would love for somebody to claim it as a prize and then start emailing me and let me geek out with you about the things you learn, because Kodai is a major mover in the arts education world, and this is a pretty cool find. Okay. Then we have a thespian journal and cinch sack given to us from the Washington State Thespian or Theater Association, just a little journal to write your ideas, your directing notes in, and a cinch sack to carry it and any of your other miscellaneous artistic or theater related things. And then we also have a set of Fight for the Arts posters from Arts Ed Washington. I don't know if you can see that well enough there. There we go. I think we have 5 of them, maybe 6 in this set. So those are the options for today's prizes. Okay, you want to try clicking on Kennewick and see what happens. And wait. Woo! Everybody, round of applause for Jamie. Jamie, if you are online, you are welcome to claim your prize first. And if you're not, then we will keep going through. And the advantage of being here today is if we do call your name, you get to claim your prize. And then we will offer the remainders to everybody else. All right, back to the slide deck. And do the same for, yep, okay, Seattle. Ooh, Chris. Yay. Chris just joined one of our programs this year. That's exciting. Congratulations, Chris. Is Chris there in person?
No.
Darn it, Chris.
I
No,
know.
that's okay. We're still glad.
Our board member Chris is here.
That is true. This is other Chris. This is Chris with a K.
Oh, okay.
And if y'all noticed, anyone who is a board member or a staff member or a family member, I did put their name in parentheses because I still would want to applaud you, but I didn't think it would be fair for us to get prizes. Next. And could someone, maybe Alex, could you tell me if anybody's claimed a prize yet in the chat or not? Okay, spin for Spokane. Right? Spokane showing up. Oh, Hank! Woo! All right. Okay, any prizes already claimed in the chat there?
I'm not seeing anybody claiming prizes yet.
Okay, Hank, what do you want? Okay, do you want the 2 Seattle or the 1 and 1? 1 and 1, there you are. All right. And last group, our Zoom people. Oh, darn it. Alex, thank you for helping to lead our Zoom. Woo, Alex!
Yay!
Okay. One more spin. Ooh, excellent. Is it Halisi?
It is Halisi. Woo!
Yay! All right. What would you like for your prize?
Is that prize still available? The one she was talking about when artists die? Is that was a prize?
Yeah, the musician, the music educator.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you would like that book, I would be happy to send that one to you.
Yay, I do.
Yeah, fantastic. And then we will find out what the other people pick later. We'll email them about that. Okay. Do I have hosts from any of the other locations that are willing to just say a quick hello and tell us what space you're in? And do I have anybody, Ryan or Kelsey, that would like to say hello when it comes to Spokane? Hello, tell us who we have there from Arts Ed specifically in Seattle. Oh, I think you got to move closer.
Bellmark operations manager. We're back. We're enjoying ourselves. We got a collective knitting table.
It's cutting out a little bit.
Ourselves.
But it's not, we hear it every time you say you're enjoying yourself. So that's what we really care about. Yay. I believe it was Chris, Courtney, and Mel. Yes? Thank you all so much. That's awesome. Thank you. Do we have anyone from Kennewick that's in a place where they can get onto a camera, or are they all still doing a makeshift connection right now? Okay. And then in Zoom, we have Alex. You've already kind of waved. Do you want to wave again or say anything? Where are you zooming in from?
I'm up here in Edmonds, Washington. It's good to see everybody.
Sweet, Edmonds. Thank you so much, Alex. All right. And then here in Spokane, we have our ambassador. Ambassador Kelsey and
Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
And Ryan, who is helping pinch hit as our human remote control today. Thank you so much for that. All right, let's go on to the next slide. So Moving on from today, what's next? Some opportunities for you to connect in other ways. You've already started here by connecting with your arts community. I would highly encourage you to take a group picture if everybody's up to it before you go. On Zoom, we could even do like a screenshot counting down with everybody smiling if you're up for that. But I would encourage you, get each other's social media handles, get your emails, sign up for each other's newsletters. Follow each other, learn when the other people in your area are hosting an event, when they're conducting a choir concert, when they are hosting an art show, when one of their pieces is being featured somewhere. Go and attend and show up and participate with each other. If people who already love the arts and know the value of how much everybody puts into it, if we aren't there showing up for each other, we might have a hard time expecting non-artists to see that it's worth also going and showing up for each other. So if you are interested, Arts Ed Washington has started a community calendar. You can zoom into that QR code right there on your phone, and that'll take you to our community calendar and some other opportunities to connect with us. We want to really encourage you to sign up using the second QR code for Arts and Heritage Week. That is a big event hosted by one of our partners, Inspire Washington, where they collect information about all of the bills and budget items that are going through legislation this year, starting in January, and they keep people updated across the state, and they bring them together at the state capitol or via Zoom if needed, the first week of February, so that there is just a big surge of people advocating for the arts and heritage and science all at the same time. And it's a really powerful experience. If you're here in Spokane, we're going to talk to you a little bit more about that in depth, because Karen, who's over here, and I will be helping to facilitate some of those things for us. So we definitely want to see if we can't recruit some of you to participate with us, because talking to our legislators is one of the best ways to make sure that arts don't get left behind when they are making their decisions. And same thing for education, and definitely the same thing for arts and education together. So that's the second QR code. Then the third one is subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't already. We have lots of useful and interesting, hopefully inspiring things that come out at least once a month. And then the last thing is just to put this in your brain for future reference. If you are interested in getting involved with Arts Ed Washington, we have quite a few other ways that you can program volunteer, ambassador program, different events throughout the year. But the next thing that will be available for applications will be applying to our board of directors. And I think that's going to be open around the month of April. So if you're interested in that type of a leadership volunteer position, then keep an eye open in the newsletter or on our social media when we tell you, hey, it's almost time to apply, because we are always looking to add more board members and to grow our representation in different pockets across the state. Okay, so if you want to QR code any of these, that would be a great time to do that. Give you just a second, and then we will move on to the final slide of the day. Definitely want to say again, thank you so much for being a part of our creative community, and give you time to share in your community before the day closes. If you are a city host, if you could join the breakout room for local introductions, like maybe there is somebody that's logged in and you are somewhere in Eastern Washington, maybe you're in Pullman or Colville, and you couldn't make it here to Spokane, but you'd still like to say a quick hello to the Spokane folks who are here in person. So we have a breakout room called Spokane and Eastern Washington. So in a moment, we will log in to that room. If anybody is in Central Washington, then you will see a breakout room called Kennewick and Central Washington. And then there is also a breakout room called Seattle and Western Washington. So you are welcome to join that breakout room. And then if you are a remote attendee, that's probably even more obvious for you. So welcome to join those breakout rooms and get to talk with other people. Technically, you could stay in the general room if you had a question for me personally, but otherwise join the breakout room, get to know some people who are in your section of the state. And if you do have any further questions, by all means, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, sign up for our newsletter, or email office@artsedwashington.org. So that is all we have for this portion of the day. Anything else that we want to ask or share for the good of the whole group? Anything in the chat? Oh, we got some good links for people to check out. Awesome. Okay, I think it's time to join your breakout rooms. Thank you all so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy time talking in smaller communities for the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Are we gonna? Thank you, Miranda. Thank you, everybody.